All right, so it's gone live now. All right, so we're live. Okay, greetings and welcome. It's Calethea X from Xaymaca Council, Arawak Council of Xaymaca. Sorry, tongue twister there. And today we're going to be looking at the 1886 Colonial exhibition. We've already started looking at this book. I'm joined by Scotty, our doctor, and then we have Chad Murdoch, our war correspondent who's out on the streets looking at what's happening with our young youth at the moment. Big ups to Tribe Up for helping us try to get our lives together. We're out here today on our own, trying to get it all together to really have a talk to you about the stuff that we've discovered in this book. So what we're going to be doing is going through some of the stuff that we've discovered already, and of course, we're going to be questioning Britain's jurisdiction over us and the fact that they say they brought so many Africans here. But so far, what we're actually finding out is that there was no war with West Africa at the time that they're stating. However, there was a war with France, quite a violent war with France that meant that a lot of French people were running out of France and actually coming here. So these are some of the things that we've been discovering as we've been going through the book. So welcome, Scotty.
Big up, everybody. Big up.
Yes,
Wagwan.
Big up, big up,
yes, and welcome,
family.
Chad. Yes, good to all see you here. Um, as I said, we went through some of the book. Do you want to? Should we just kind of run through what we discovered about the whole expo thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That would be okay. This about discussion about
exactly. Because what we've been discovering, because we are actually quite used to exhibitions nowadays, big expos that tend to be very catered for and niche.
exact.
So you'll get like a technical expo, an expo that's dealing with particular thing like a particular industry, whereas this particular time it was very much about encouraging Europeans to come over here, to come to the newly discovered lands, and to be setting up. We've got a bit of background noise going on there, and to be setting up new trading contracts where they are going to be beneficial uh, benefactors to the trade, because we know sugar was a big money earner for Britain, was it not?
It was the most money earner for them.
And in fact,
And
they
in
still.
fact, it was said that they were so addicted to sugar. It was unbelievable. And that's what actually started them bringing slaves over to work on the plantation to for their trade, basically.
Exactly, exactly. Because what you're finding now is that they're bringing in basically cheap labor, because the people of the islands, us, our ancestors, our families, were refusing to work under those conditions.
That's right.
Yeah. So what we'll do, one of the good things about the book actually is the fact that we did actually discover what he is saying the Aboriginals of the island actually called it. And I'm just going to read through this bit here where it's talking about the island of Jamaica. Jamaica, the Aboriginal name of which was Xaymaca, implies the land of streams, bridges. The historian is of opinion that the word is derived from two Indian words. So there again, you see that they're actually referring to us as Indians because it's an Indian word and therefore part of our language. Um, Shabuan, signifying water, and Makia, wood.
How do you spell that, Carlin? How do you spell it?
It's Chabau, and it's got the dots on top of the U.
Okay.
AN.
That's not German then.
I think it sounds very.
Because German, that's how the U is pronounced in Germany, and they put the two dots on the top.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a German word.
Wow, that's interesting. Actually,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I never knew that.
Hmm.
And I was saying, in fact, that I would have thought that the ch, instead of being a hard ch, or as in shaba or chaba,
Hmm.
would be more like you pronounce it for me, shy, ja.
Like that, they say if they're going to say the Germans going to say Hova, they say Huber.
Okay.
You see, so that sounds like it's a German word.
It actually looks as if that's probably been inserted in, wouldn't you think? Because one shaba uba,
Yeah, Huber. Yeah, Huber.
yeah, it's quite
That,
strange. But they say it's here where they break it down a bit more. They say the compound word would approach to shabmakia,
there's a lot of wind. I can hear a lot of wind blowing.
yeah, shabmakia, thence corrupted to Jamaica, denoting a land covered with wood and therefore water by shaded rivulets, or in other words, fertile.
Hmm.
So we're already dealing with a fertile land. Um, then it goes on to actually talk about the fact that it's one of the four islands which is a part of the Greater Antilles. And I was saying another interesting word there, Antilles, Atlanta, Atlantis. Because when you read some of the older books, you find that they say that what we have here as the islands are actually the tops of mountains that are from a larger landmass.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, so it's surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, and then they actually go on. I won't, I'm gonna actually what I can do is just pop the link in the chat for everybody, so that they are actually able to go and check the book out for themselves. Let me just come back in here and post that there. So there's a link to the book that people can actually go and check out. And let me go back to it. So what have you thought so far about the expos and the fact that they were actually using? I don't know if you were aware of Barnum. He was the one who started circuses and freak shows. Come look at the bearded lady type thing. You aware of him?
You two talk to me?
Yes, yeah, yeah. But both
Um,
Sancho.
well, not exactly aware of all that, but I mean, there's so much things that's hidden um,
Yes,
that we're unaware of, and I think that's what this is revealing.
indeed.
I was just interested to hear about the because I've always said, why we call in places like St. Catherine and who the hell St. Catherine, who the hell St. Thomas? We don't know who they are.
Yes, yes.
Why should people be calling on these evil spirits to justify anything?
Thank
That's
you.
that's that's my take on that.
Yeah, and it's
I'd
quite
like to hear. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that actually.
yes,
As you said the other day, you was talking about it, and it'd be interesting to know where these stupid names came from. Who are these saints, and well, who are they? Where are they? And
exactly.
need to get rid of them.
Yes, definitely. And it's quite interesting that when I was doing the preview yesterday, they were actually saying that the um, island had been divided into four countries, and I had to wonder, is that an actual spelling mistake? Because he does actually go on to say counties later. Let me see if I can find it here. Um, the island is divided into three um, countries and 14 parishes.
That's right.
Now, that I found was really, really strange, because it's almost as if they're dividing up the spoils between themselves.
That's
You know,
right. What was the countries again? What were they divided up? What was the name of the countries?
they called them. it was Sussex.
Wessex and Essex.
Yeah, it was Surrey, country of Surrey, Middlesex, Cornwall.
Yeah,
You
all
see,
English names, huh?
all English names, and it wouldn't surprise me actually that if we go and look historically
No, I'll tell you what. I think they
traces,
probably mean counties. They might mean counties, not
yeah,
countries.
countries. That's what I said. Is it a
Because
town?
don't forget, those are counties in England.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you can see that they're trying to put a similar system that they
Hmm.
had over there over here.
Yes, yeah, they're bringing England here, you know, really, and saying, well, everywhere we
Exactly.
go, it's just like they went to America. They call it Birmingham, Pennsylvania. They're all English people,
Thank
you
you,
know.
because it's quite interesting when you go to Kingston, you'll see places like Battersea,
Yeah, that's it. It's nothing to do
Rye.
with nothing to do with the land.
Thank
Not at
you.
all to do with the land.
Yes, it's a question of where these people have been really.
But it just surprised me. How come it just shows you how stupid the government is. To knowing all these things and talking about they got their independence in 1962, it's absolute rubbish. How can
Exactly.
you have independence and still calling someone stupid name? The people who try to, still messing the country up. I mean, why would you want to call on those people?
Exactly.
You know, it's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense. It really
No, it
doesn't.
don't make sense. No,
Yeah.
yeah. It
And
don't make sense, and it just shows you the reason why the country's in a state because of that,
yes,
and that the Jamaican government is working for the British system just the same way. It's nothing to do with the people.
yeah. There we go. And this is the false jurisdiction that they have actually put on us. You see,
Yeah,
because it's more about contracts and employment and getting employment as cheaply as possible. This is the thing. If nothing, if at all possible.
mm,
So, and here you can see where they've kind of split the island up almost by the mineral resources that they have. So when you come here, you can see they're talking about the types of rocks. And I think yesterday when I was going through the introduction, they were talking about how good it would be for mining. So they had already recognised that in the 1800s that there was great mining potential here. Um, well, I think it was, and look here, mineral deposits are numerous in the mountain districts. Iron, copper, lead, manganese, and cobalt have been found and worked to some extent, but no profitable industry has been the result. Marble of good quality has also been found at the head of the Blue Mountain Valley. Now, I know a lot of people are probably quite aware that we have quite a lot of when people are having, people kitchen stuff, marble flooring and all kinds of marble all over the house because marble is something that's available very, very easily here. All right, so we've also got a lot of limestone, porphyroite, granite. Um, I think,
don't forget that's only the reason why they're mentioning those sort of stuff. It's the only place they could reach. If you think about the
yeah,
coffee country, there's gold and diamond and all those minerals up
exactly.
there. Now they discover it, they want to go in there now and take it out. But I suppose at the time when um, what's the place called again? That's sunk. I can't remember the name.
Port Royal, Port Royal.
Port Royal. Don't
Yeah,
forget, there was all banking on Port Royal. You know,
yeah,
that's where they lived. That's where everything was happening. You know what I mean?
exactly.
That's why they can't really show you anything from. If you look at some of these videos back in 19, even before 1960, you'll see the Arawaks going about their business, doing their shopping, doing their planting, their cultivation, carrying stuff on their head, carrying a bucket of water and stuff like that, going about their business. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
So I think in Port Royal, they couldn't. They was too busy getting drunk on sugar, basically, and all the sex and all the carnage that was going on down there.
Yes,
You know,
exactly. Exactly.
and
Because they know that
when that crashed and sunk, I suppose they decided to move inland, where they could find other resources.
hmm hmm exactly. This is that's the thing, because we know that Columbus and their ilk, when they came, they bought the things like child prostitution, child trafficking, and prostitution in general. That's why people used to refer to Port Royal as being Sodom and Gomorrah. Is that not
That's
right?
right. That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
because they bought all the really bad practices down here. But then also we've got to look at the fact that when this book starts, it does talk about the fact that there had been a lull in the sugar industry, and I do think that it's because of the wars that were going on the seas at the time, between the French and the English and everybody who was just trying to come down here for their peace. Spain obviously losing, wouldn't have been able to be distributing the goods that they were initially moving about the sea. So that would have affected trade quite a lot if you think that there's a lot of war and sea back, because the British actually were able to take over the sea because of the privateers. I think that was one of the
Just to
things that
say,
you
if
didn't write
people
down.
can click the subscribe button, the and share button, share and like the video, and share the video and subscribe.
Exactly. Lovely. I have noticed actually that people can't, I don't know why, even though I'm sharing my screen, I don't actually know why let me go back into here and double check what is happening, why you can't actually see the book. I must apologise.
Well, it's okay, carry on. Doesn't matter. You've dropped it's in a link anyway, so I
Yeah,
mean, it's up to
yeah.
you.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, I'll drop a link for the book in the chat in a second as well.
No, you've done it. You've done it already, haven't you?
So, but basically, I just hopefully I can run it today. Um, but hopefully you're actually able to see the screen now.
I can see it now. Yeah, it's okay. All good.
And yeah, lovely. And I don't know, I know that Chad, our correspondent, actually
I
seemed to have
can't
a bit of
see it
a
in the
cloud. Are you
live
able to?
though. I can't see the screen in the
Yeah, it's
live.
there in the live now. I think you're on a bit of a delay.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's there in the live now. And I'll see if I can make it a little bit bigger and perhaps read it. Let's just wait for it to load. But to me, it's very much like, uh, oh, wow, not that big maybe. It's very much like a resource grab. These guys are here, they want to make money. They want to set up these contracts, and the expos were very much about advertising what was here to the people of Europe, to say to them, come, entrepreneurs, one and all, it's here for you, regardless of your
Who's here? Who's there?
condition.
And
Exactly,
then
and
whoever
just
lives
remember
there,
that.
they just disregarded the people who live there.
Exactly, exactly. So we're looking. I think we can miss a lot of this about the various limestones and various things that you see that they do the Blue Mountain. One of the good things about this book is you discover actually that the railway was up and running at this time, very much so, because he tells
What
you how
the
you
well, the
can get around the
railway?
island and see.
Yeah, the railway line. This is another thing. The railway was put in place in 1842. 1842.
Okay,
The book is what,
okay.
1886.
It's
So
1886, yes.
1842.
Yeah,
That's when the railway system was put into Jamaica. And who,
yes.
who who did all that? Was it the Indians they brought in, and was it the Chinese they brought in? Who actually did that?
Well, I don't know if they'd actually really brought in anybody at the time as such. I haven't found any evidence as such. I'm not saying that they haven't, but I know that we had somebody called the Duke of Errol and Lord Rodney between 1814 and 1782.
Right.
1795,
Yeah, they must have been
they were
there a while before this exhibition, really.
exactly. And this is one of the things that we were saying actually, because when we were looking at the courthouse fire, and they were saying when that building was built, strangely enough, as with most of these old buildings, there aren't any blueprints. They can't rebuild it. Very difficult. It's almost like an indestructible building. And I was saying, because we were actually questioning the fire, and we were saying, but did they actually build it? In America, in America, is that two of buildings actually been there long time before the Europeans arrived. And in fact, some of those buildings, the Spanish even talk about encountering, especially in South America, when the towns and the um, uh, casitas that they came across as well. So let's move on a little bit here, because again in this book, what we do notice is that they do talk about the French, and in fact, I'm going to show you this letter um, about French families in Kingston from 1795, and this is how I found this Earl of Balcarres. I was actually wondering who he was because he was writing to um, the Governor General at the time about the French families who had run from France in war and basically had been placed here as are they immigrants or are they prisoners of war? That was the interesting thing, and there's quite a few of them. There's, I think, when you come down here, they tell you there's 600 persons, um, 229 families of white people, amounting to upwards of 600 persons, 107 of which alone receive at present the bounty of the government. The rest are recommended to your lordship's benevolence. So again, this is showing you that we of the island were actually helping these people because they've come here as prisoners of war.
Which people
Um,
came as prisoners of war?
it's the French. Well, the French. This is what we're saying. Were they immigrants?
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. You
Yeah,
mean the people who came on the French ships? They're all prisoners. You mean?
this
Yeah,
is
but
what this is
that's a
what I'm
normal.
saying.
That's a normal thing, isn't it? Because normally when they are prisoners, they take them. Take it. They say, look, we can set you free, but you got to do this. So they might
Yeah,
have well taken them out of prison and say, look, there's some things in Jamaica. We want to take them there
exactly.
to start
Exactly.
whatever. But I don't remember anyone talking about the French being involved in a sugar plantation. So they must have been doing something else. If that they could have done the railways, they could have. I don't know what were they doing?
That's a good point actually, because that would be quite interesting to find out
Hmm.
what they did do here. But just the knowing that Kingston sort of became the centre of everything, and how throughout time that kind of slow march towards setting up the caste system that they set up, even though that they say that these people are white, we don't know whether that is actually a reference to colour. It could actually be a reference to status, because we know that up until the 1900s, black and white were geopolitical statuses. They were political statuses and had nothing to do with colour. It's only in the 1900s that we're looking at the black and white being something to do with the colour of your skin. You see,
Well, I didn't know I was black until I come here.
there
I
you
never heard
go.
that word before. When I
There
come
you
here, them start say, "Yeah, black, go back to your own country." This, that, the other.
exactly.
That's just when I start saying, "Oh, black. What's all this black business?"
Yeah,
They call
exactly.
everybody black.
Yeah,
And then they start giving you all the derogatory names and so forth and so forth.
there you go. Yeah,
You know.
but it's quite interesting because I never knew that these French people had come over here like that. And this is actually what he's complaining about. That 1993 and destruction by fire forced a surprising number of its inhabitants to fly from that place. Once so fortunate, and the horrible vexation in brackets brackets comma, uh, panicked for colonial response, and the Americans, offering the intervening means to transfer colonial produce, found themselves liable from British orders to be interrupted in their navigation in order to prevent the produce of that colony from being transmitted as a supply to the French Republic there.
Mhm.
This is quite, see, there we go. This is where they talk about the privateers. Armed with privateers, and all the inhabitants of Hispaniola were taken and brought to Jamaica,
Right.
which actually kind of corresponds with when we were talking to another Jamaican maroon who was saying a similar thing, that he was saying the royalty and the people from parts of Spain and France were sent here. And it's quite interesting because they do actually, I don't think it's this list, they do actually have a passenger list. And because this is actually, you can get this from Family Search, Jamaican Family Search. So this is a good site. Let me see if I can pop this in the chat for people to also go and reference, because they do have list of families, and they do tell you the occupation of those families. And what you'll find is that a lot of them were, the king's physician. They were
So all the
part of,
all the colonizers brought their kings and queens over, didn't they? To this
basically,
show,
yeah.
to this exhibition. By the sounds of it, it wasn't just the King of England or Queen of England. It was the from France and Spain or whatever. It was all there.
Yeah, by then, because I think that it would have settled down the war. So yes, I mean this is basically anybody who is an entrepreneur who um, is able to wheel and deal. I mean, if you think about exhibitions today, you've got the ordinary people that are just going to go there to have a look, buy a few bits and pieces and enjoy something new. But then in amongst those, you're also going to get people who have got money, they're business owners, bankers, um, who want to set up bigger contracts and bigger deals. So yeah, I think they'd have been coming in from all over Europe, in truth. Because in fact, if you look, the expos went on from the 1700s right through to the late 1800s, 1886. This one here we're looking at, and it was very much about the moving of the European population into the Americas, into the new
What page are you
colonized.
on?
I'm now actually on. Sorry, let me go back. We're actually on page 60.
16.
60.
Oh, 60.
Yeah. So if we look on here, he's talking about the chief towns of Jamaica are Kingston, which is the largest and most important commercial towns in the British West Indies, and forms the capital of the parish known by the name of Spanish Town. Um, I think because by then we had already lost Port Royal. Port Royal was previous to that. So yes, here we go. Kingston was built after the destruction of Port Royal by the earthquake of 1692. Is now the seat of
1692.
yeah,
Right.
and they sort of question as to dates, because I know that I think when we go back and sort of look at the emancipation and the treaties there, because there's a video that I'd quite like to play from a doctor who talks about the fact that the treaty had been tampered with, the treaty with the Maroons had been tampered with, and therefore it would make it actually null and void. But there's also this very strange thing about the date of it, whether it's 34 or 36 or 37 or 38, something like that, because they'd actually tampered with the calendars.
Mm.
Because we've got the Julian, the Gregorian,
Right.
and that doesn't affect how time is counted, and I don't think we can take away from that. But I think what we'll do now, actually, because we've been on for a bit, what we'll do is we'll wrap this up. Yeah, you all right with that?
Okay.
And we'll see if we can go into a little bit more of the history at a later time.
Yeah, that sounds about right, I think. Yeah.
All right. And it was a shame that Chad got seemed to get kicked out.
Yeah.
But hopefully next time he'll be here, and we'll maybe be able to get a few more of our Arawak brethren in here to have a discussion about the information that we found.
Hmm.
All right, that's brilliant. Thanks a lot for joining us, and thanks for everybody in the chat. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. All right.
Yeah, that's good. Respect.
All right.